I want to talk about 5 areas of your life which will compound in a positive way if you contribute early and consistently. For anyone who is wondering what that is sticking out of my head, it is a poll. I wasn't going to take it down for the video. Hi, welcome back to the channel. I think when I turned 30, I crossed that proverbial threshold when I all of a sudden had an urge to get my shit together. I've evaluated a few things in my life and realized that I underinvested in certain areas. Today I want to share a few things that I wish I started doing sooner in my 20s instead of 30s. So whether you are in your 20s and feeling a bit lost, or in your 30s and feeling like you are behind, it's not too late. Listen up. First area is financial literacy. When someone mentions compounding effect, the first thing that probably comes to mind is money. Long-term investments grow exponentially, so the sooner you start investing, even the small amounts, the more money you're gonna have in your later years. Most of us don't get education around financial literacy, and there are a few things that I wish I learned and started doing sooner. Open a high-yield savings account and store an emergency fund there. Ideally, at least 3 to 6 months of expenses. Second thing, contribute to a retirement account. In the United States, max out your 401k if you can. If you're lucky and your employer matches your contributions, take advantage of that. Do not leave money on the table, which is what I did for a few years. Thanks to my ignorance. It's painful to talk about, so that's one of the things I wish I understood and learned how to use. Another thing that I wish I would take time to learn about sooner is investing in stock market. You don't need a lot to do that. Anything above zero compounds. Even $100 a month invested in S&P 500 is a great start. If you invest $1,000, then with an average return of 8%, in 10 years you're going to have about $10,000 thanks to the compounding effect. Pretty cool, huh? The last thing that I believe is worth learning about is crypto. I know, a bit controversial, and majority of the world still doesn't take crypto seriously, but based on what's going on in the world, I feel like crypto is here to stay. It's better to learn how it works and understand it and be ready to use if one day crypto becomes one of the standard currencies. Let's shift gears. Second area to invest in is your skincare. Don't look at me like that. I know you care about how your face looks. Well, vanity never killed nobody. Speaking of killing, I'm pretty sure you also would be happy to avoid skin cancer, which brings me to my first and most important point related to skincare: sunscreen. I now apply it religiously. Disclaimer, I live in California and sun here is no joke year-round. But guess what? This genius wasn't applying sunscreen for the first year living in California. I was burning my skin for an entire year until some nice lady told me that my skin was kind of looking like shit and I need to do something about it. So depending on the UV index in your area, you should apply sunscreen. Anything 3 and above, it's a good idea to cover anything that's exposed. Your face, your neck, your arms. And I know there'll always be people saying, like, sun is good for you. You need it. You're getting enough. And those wrinkles look real good on you. Seriously, with the amount of sunscreen that you're applying without looking like a ghost, if it's SPF 50 on the bottle, you're probably getting like 25, 30 at best. So you are getting enough. Apply sunscreen. Do not be stupid. The rest of skincare is really personal preference. I know that some people, when they hear skincare, get overwhelmed with complexity and potential money and time investment. The way I think about it is Pareto principle. In reality, 80% of your skin health comes from the simple things that you do consistently at home, and the remaining 20% are professional treatments. So start simple: cleanser, maybe a toner, definitely moisturizer, sunscreen when going outside. You also don't have to invest in any fancy brands. There are a lot of high quality, well-tested drugstore brands. The most important thing is to choose products that work for your skin, work with your budget, and something that you would want to apply consistently. Because with skincare, consistency is really the name of the game. It really compounds. Healthy habits might increase your lifespan by a couple of decades if done consistently, and unhealthy habits might reduce it by as much. If I'm being honest, I spent my 20s treating my body and mind like trash. And I will likely pay for it later. The best time to do better was probably about 10 years ago. The next best time is right now. So here's a short list of the top healthy habits that I started taking seriously. Sleeping 8 hours every night, minimum, non-negotiable. Working out every week, really depends on the week. But having 3 to 4 workouts in a week, I count that as a success for myself. I do yoga every morning. It could be anything from 5 to 30 minutes, but this is another non-negotiable for me. It really helps with balance, mobility, and flexibility. And for me, it also doubles as a moving meditation. Good for the body, good for the soul. Moving as much as possible is crucial. I think walking is one of the most underrated ways to exercise. Limiting caffeine and alcohol intake, especially in the second half of the day. Avoiding stress at all costs. Limiting time with people who cause me negative emotions. Reducing the number of commitments and focusing on the most important few. And every once in a while reminding myself to not take life too seriously. And the last habit is learning every day. Books, podcasts, YouTube, whatever. Curious mind is a healthy mind. I always say that regret is a useless feeling, but I do regret underinvesting in this area of my life. Friends are the people who will be there for you when you are single or in a relationship, when you are wealthy or poor, healthy or sick. Moving to the United States impacted most of my friendships, but I'm very, very lucky. I have a best friend and we've been friends since we were 7, and she's my favorite person. She's like family. And recently she and I went on vacation. We've been talking about going on vacation together probably since college. And now in our 30s, for the first time ever, we did it. I couldn't compare it with any other vacation I've ever had. The way I felt around her, I could be totally unapologetically myself because she's seen me at my worst through the years and she still somehow likes me. The older we get, the lower our chances to build a meaningful relationship, because with everything that compounds, time is an important factor. I think my friend and I are so close because we have, at this point, more than 2 decades of shared history. And this process is really hard to accelerate. I guess the takeaway here is if you don't invest in your friendships in your 20s, in your 30s, you're probably not going to have good friends later in life. Tim Ferriss, an author and entrepreneur, said that a person's success in life can usually be measured by the number of uncomfortable conversations they're willing to have. I really wished I learned this one sooner. It applies to so many things in life, like hesitating to leave a bad relationship, including friends, or not telling your partner what you like in bed, or not asking for that raise that you deserve at work. I think for me, one of the biggest things is being in a relationship that wasn't working, but I was afraid to leave because I thought that if I left, the time I've already invested would be a waste. And I got it all wrong. The time that we stay in fear instead of using it for something that's better for us is the real waste. There are a few rules that I try to follow now. Ditch quickly what doesn't work. It will only hurt for a moment. If someone is not making you stronger, they're making you weaker. That's Tim Ferriss again. Ask her what you want and need. If you get a yes, sweet. If you get a no, then you use this information and decide whether to leave or stay. The third one is say what you really think. Even at work, that is actually the funniest thing, to watch people's faces change when you say something and they are like, I can't believe she had the balls to just say that. And tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, when it doesn't paint you in the best light. Most people will appreciate you for that and respect you more. And just stop quietly waiting for the issues that need a conversation to resolve on their own, because most likely they won't, and what will compound is your unhappiness. All right. These are the 5 areas that I wish I learned about and invested in sooner. So it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. Don't wait for too long. Invest in yourself and the good stuff will compound. Okay, bye. Open a high heel. Speaking is hard. Speaking is so hard. Okay. Okay. Come on.